Triple flicks. Drop me up.
Woo! Triple Flicks Mafia. This is Chitty Bobby.
I think you should just introduce all of us.
Yeah.
And we got the wheels.
What about me?
We got Friday the 14th. Working on my vocals. Gosh dang.
And it's early, too.
It's August. It's hotter than two rats making hot, passionate whoopee in a wool sock. And this is the August edition of our franchise reviews. We're going to be talking about the Texas Chainsaw Massacre franchise.
Yes, we are.
Yep, one of the best ones.
Yeah, for sure.
You know, one of the most popular.
Best ones?
Popular. It's up, you know.
Agree to disagree.
Popular.
It is
I
popular.
agree.
I changed
I
my word.
agree with you. I think Tony. Before we get started, I think he just likes to argue. That's what I think. So we're going to talk about them. How do y'all want to do this? Do we? Because they're going to be very, very different.
Yeah, I think our list is going to vary quite differently.
I say we just go through them one by one, just rank them real quick, just because there's so many, and then we just discuss all of it.
All right.
The differences,
Okay, so we're just going to start from the top?
I say you just do your ranking, and we'll just go through all three of us.
Okay, so my rankings are as follows. This is the very first one. This is a really cool edition Jordan got from Germany. It's like a 4K edition of the original Texas Chainsaw Massacre. It's clearly my favorite one. It's one of the best horror movies. The best horror movies. It's just everything about it, bro. It's so gritty and grimy. Like, I hate Franklin, but it's so, God, man, it's so good, man. And this is what started it. It's like there's not a lot of blood in it, which that's fine with me. You don't need a lot of blood. It's all about just the vibe you get from it.
Atmosphere.
The atmosphere of it. Leatherface is just terrifying, dude. And it's one of the best horror movies ever to me. So it's clearly my number one.
Yeah, the most brutal kill in it is when what's his name comes up to the door and gets hit with a hammer, and he's just sitting there just twitching. That's terrifying. That's realistic in a way, because that's somebody's getting hit in the head with a hammer. I'm gonna be twitching all over.
Oh, bro, and that's the thing about this series that I like, is that this could happen. I mean, it probably has.
Well, it's based off of what's his name, Ed Gein.
Right.
Right. It's Toby Hooper's idea of it came from a real life guy.
Yeah, for sure.
I believe, right? Is that right? I may be wrong.
You know how they do? They say that it's. At first, they were saying it was based on a true story, and then I guess, of course, that. You know how that stuff goes. I mean, I'm sure it loosely may be based on.
I don't even think the Ed Gein stuff was in Texas. You know,
yeah, but he was wearing
Texas
people's
atmosphere.
faces though.
Yeah.
And wearing like people's ears as a necklace.
And that was back in what, like the 30s or something?
Something like that. 40s. I don't know. I'm not a history major.
Yeah, there's just so much creepiness to this movie, like the whole hitchhiker scene. That scene just creeps me the hell out.
Franklin, he got what he deserves, because he's.
Oh yeah, he was a POS for sure. But
the whiniest mother trucker
he was
I've
a
ever seen
whiny
in my
MFer.
life.
He was a WMF. So am I just going to go through all
just yours?
Okay.
Yeah.
So my second favorite one is Texas Chainsaw Massacre Part 2. A lot of people don't like this movie because it's got a lot of comedy in it. Tony's a shoo-shoo. So there's something about this movie that I just really like, man. Like, I think Leatherface is a pervert in this one. I know that. There's a lot of comedy in this one. It's completely different than this one. But there's my favorite scene in this whole, the whole scene with the studio. I thought that was scary as hell. Chop Top, to me, is such an awesome character. And there's just a lot of elements in this that I like. Now, I get it, though, because there's a lot of comedy in it. People just don't like it for that reason. And then, a lot of people don't like the whole underground thing, like, that part of it. But I just really love this one. That's my number 2. Where are we going here? My number 3. Is this my number 3 favorite one is the remake. I think the remake's great. I wish I would have gotten to see this in the theater. I know you said you got to see it in the theater.
I saw it in
That was
the
the
theater.
first Texas Chainsaw I ever saw.
Yeah, and it's so dope, man. Jessica Biel's, God, giggity. And then you got Latimer as Leatherface, which this remake, he's much more brutal, but this movie, I've watched this one the most out of all the Texas Chainsaws, and I think it's done really well. It's got some great kills in it. I think they did a good job with it, and it's definitely one of the most rewatchable ones to me. So it would be my number
Definitely
3.
top of the line of remakes.
Oh yeah,
for
that's
sure,
one
yeah.
of the best remakes.
You got to
put
think
out
too.
there.
Was that 03 when this came out?
Yeah.
I think so.
Yeah. It's probably kind of what started that wave of remakes, because shortly after that,
Like Hills Have Eyes.
Hills Have Eyes, Last House on the Left a few years later, Halloween, Friday 13th. I mean, that was years later, but I think that's kind of what got that going. Felt like.
And it's a Michael Bay movie too. It's without explosions.
Did he direct it or did he just?
I think he
produce
produced it. It was his production company that produced it because he produced the beginning as well.
Yeah. My number 4 would be The Beginning. We watched this very recently. Again, I've seen it a couple times, and it still is in the same spot it was in before. But we were talking about like the characters in this one. There's not really a lot to them. But what's his name? The sheriff.
Sheriff Hoyt.
Sheriff Hoyt. Yeah, he's just R.I.P.
Yeah,
to him. But
he's
he's the best part. And again, you got Latimer as Leatherface in this one. Really cool kills. Only thing about it with me is like kind of the characters. You're not really.
Yeah, you don't get really invested in them.
There's not a lot to them, but.
I mean, the females are really nice to look at in that one. Really nice to look at.
Really nice, Clark. Especially that one with the freckles.
Giggity.
Yeah. What am I saying here? Yeah, I guess we're gonna go with to me the next one, because it kind of goes back and forth. These last like 3 to me are kind of all the same. We rewatched this one recently as well, the new Leatherface. There's a lot of flaws in this to me, but it's got some really brutal kills in it. There's the twist, that I'm not really a fan of, and there's a couple of scenes with the
crazy
people and necrophilia-ish kind of stuff.
Nasty.
But that'd be my next one. And then
Oh boy, we're getting to the good ones now.
we're getting to the good ones. Yeah. So the next one to me would be Leatherface, the original, Stone Cold Steve Austin. When I first saw this years ago, I thought it was really, really cool. And then we rewatched it a few years, ago on DVD, and I didn't think it was all that great. And then we rewatched it again when we had the Blu-ray. There's so much going on in it. There's cool parts to it. It's hardly no kills on screen though.
Yeah.
Like they cut away. I don't know if there's like an unrated version that we just don't have.
I don't think so.
But that'd be my next one. And then this is a shit turd, man. This is really bad. It's basically a Trey Songz promotional movie.
Yeah.
He's playing pool with his own music playing in the background. There's cool kills in it. The timeline is the most annoying thing about it. I told them when it first came out, I made it 10 minutes in the movie and I shut it off. Because they start the movie off and they're like, oh, we're showing scenes of the original. We're going to stick to that. We're paying homage. And then it's like, it's supposed to be 40 years later and the chick is like 20 years old.
Yeah,
I'm like, what is going
It
on?
would technically be like 18 years later.
Yeah.
I think it's 40.
And Leatherface would be like 60-something.
Yeah.
And he's running around just sprinting.
He chucks a chainsaw at like an amusement park.
The thing about the amusement park is a dude going crazy around, and nobody is. Oh, let's go over here to the Ferris wheel.
It's like, oh, this
let's
is
go
just
throw
part of the
some
show.
basketballs in the hoop and win a rubber ducky. Nothing going on over there.
And so that'd be my next one. And the last one, shout out to my boy Ivey. Be sure to sub to him. He has an awesome review of this one.
Yeah.
This movie, it's one of the worst sequels to me. It's just awful, bro. Like, I understand why McConaughey and Renee Zellweger don't want anything to do with this. Originally, Scream Factory had them on the cover, and then all of a sudden there was an issue, probably because they didn't want to be associated with it.
I wouldn't either.
You got Leatherface like in drag. You got I don't know.
McConaughey's just slapping that poor woman around the whole movie. Just
and there's a lot of whoops in it. It's just an awful film. It's just not.
It makes no sense.
It doesn't make sense. Like McConaughey's bad in it, which it's hard to say he's bad in any movie.
Yeah, but that was probably that was before Dazed and Confused. I mean, what was that, 94, I believe?
Oh shit! It was 94. Damn.
So I think it was
shit turd, man.
Yeah, it's bad.
So that would be my rankings. And then now, y'all, we can talk about y'all. I don't know how.
Want me to go next?
Want to do it?
Doesn't matter.
All right, I'll go next. All right, here we go. Controversy begins.
Oh God.
Let's see. My number one would be the Texas Chainsaw remake.
That boy.
I mean, I saw the original Texas Chainsaw before this one, but this one just, the rewatchability factor in this one is just fantastic. And like Chad said, this is one of the best remakes to come out. It's hell, I think it was in one or two of my top remakes. But yeah, that one's number one. Let's dig through these. Number two for me would be Texas Chainsaw: The Beginning. It has its flaws, but once again, it comes back to rewatchability for me. And the kills in this one, especially when the biker dude lays down on top of the chainsaw and they just cut right through him. And Lee Emery is fantastic in this one. He's the best part of both of these movies, which you don't get him as much in this one as you do in this one, but Sheriff Hoyt is the GOAT.
Yeah, he's the greatest.
My number three, it changed. My list changed quite a bit, but I'll have to go with the original as my number three. It's just like Chad said, you wouldn't have all these other ones if you didn't have this one. But the rewatchability is just, it's not the best for this one. It does its job and makes you feel uncomfortable, which it's supposed to. I mean, it makes you feel like you're sweating your balls off. I appreciate it for what it is, but I hate Franklin. Absolutely hate Franklin. But he's not my most hated person in this franchise. We'll get to him in just a second.
What about that hot dog penis sausage thing he's got in his mouth at the beginning of the movie? What about that? What is that exactly?
Number four for me.
When I think about Franklin, that's all I think about is that thing he had.
That and him whining the whole damn time.
Yeah.
It's just, I would have just pushed him out of the van and just kept on driving and said, sorry, Franklin.
Well, they did kind of like leave him, you know.
Yeah, I would have.
Come in the
I don't
house
blame
by
him.
himself.
I don't blame him one bit. My number four is Leatherface. Like we said, the twist, it's all right. Who you thought was going to be Leatherface is not, but the kills in this are just absolutely brutal. It's probably one of the more brutal ones out of the franchise, other than, well, the beginning's pretty damn brutal, but this one has some great kills in it.
Yeah.
I will admit,
God bless Tony.
Texas Chainsaw 3D is my number 5 in the franchise.
Jesus, tap dancing.
The Mask I wasn't a fan of. The timeline is just horrendous, and the ending 5 minutes where he said where she says, "Do your thing, cuz," it's bad. But the kills are pretty cool.
Yeah. Some good eye candy in there.
Yeah, a lot of good eye candy. If you've seen True Detective, you know exactly what we're talking about.
Oh yeah. And the other girl that's in it.
Oh yeah.
Whatever her name is.
Number, 6 would be Texas Chainsaw 2. Didn't like it. I thought it was pretty good the first time I watched it, and then I rewatched it. It may have been because I watched it by myself, but was not a fan of this one very much. Dancing Leatherface, dancing around, doing his knee shuffles, and the pervert, and then them going into Batman Returns as the Penguin's lair up underneath everything. It's just, I didn't grow up watching this one. I can understand where people have sentimental value to it because they watched it younger, but
it's this factual thing that it's better than that one. It's not an opinion.
well, it's my number 6.
You're gonna put a Trey Songz chainsaw above number part 2.
7, Leatherface, garbage. Viggo Mortensen, all the Sawyers don't even exist in this movie. The Sawyers are gone, but there's another Leatherface just running around like with the Stone Cold Steve Austin knee brace, just creaking around the woods, like you can't hear him coming. He's
a whole lot skinnier in that one.
Yeah, he's like a little wormy looking dude in this one. It's just not a fan. But this one, just straight up dumpster juice. Horrible. I watched this for the first time this past week. Hated it. Matthew McConaughey, gotta love him. I love him. But he is just atrocious with that cybernetic knee brace that he's wearing that's making air, has a vacuum hose hooked up to his back. It made no sense whatsoever. I mean, and cross-dressing Leatherface. No, just
It's a
no.
really bad movie.
No.
Give these to Jordan. Let Jordan.
No.
Let him make up for your blasphemous.
I don't want to put them in order because
choices.
I don't want to give it away. I think I'm going to be a good in-between
I think you are too.
for both of you.
Jordan's
It's
a middleman. Jordan's the voice
It's
of
Tony.
reason.
I always know it's just.
Well,
we're just-
Tony likes to be different. You know, we go eat pizza and he's ordering the white sauce on the pizza.
Yeah, that's
you
how
know,
you
when
know it's
everybody
hard to-
else
that's how you
gets
know
the
it's hard to-
normal pizza sauce.
Red sauce gives me
Tony,
heartburn.
Tony likes to.
I'm
to
fat.
do-
I get
do
heartburn
something
easily.
different. All right. Well, everybody knows my number one. This is the first Texas Chainsaw I saw in the theater. I was one of those people that thought it was a true story. Like the movie ended, and me and my friends were like, "We got to go find that house." Like we were all into it.
You didn't never really watch horror movies, right?
Yeah, I didn't grow up on watching a whole lot of horror, so the first one was just kind of like this, up on this pedestal that I've never seen before. It kind of freaked me out.
Yeah.
But just love the remake. I've watched it a million times. I just love the atmosphere, Leatherface. I love how aggressive he is. You know, I just love everything about it. So that's my number one. Number two is the original. I remember watching this for the first time, you know, soon after I watched the remake. And I remember just sitting on like the menu screen, like nervous about watching it.
right.
There was something about it.
Yeah.
It just had this vibe to it, this personality to it.
Yeah.
And it really made me uncomfortable. I do agree with Tony. It's not the most rewatchable. I can't watch this movie just all the time. But I watched this 4K edition yesterday, and if you want to know about the 4K, it's nothing too special. It's just as good as the Blu-ray. But
Like we were
it's
talking
classic
about off
though.
Yeah, for sure. Like we were talking about off camera too. That's one of those movies you kind of don't really want to see it, and I mean, because the way it was shot, and I just don't. It's not one of those movies. Like even the Blu-ray, it almost kind of looks too good for. You almost kind of would rather watch it.
Yeah, you want it to kind of have that.
Gritty,
it loses its personality, you know, when
it's all
it looks
polished
nicer.
like
But
that.
it's really just the outside scenes when it's nice outside.
Yeah.
I think those are the only scenes that really matter. But anyway, it's just a classic. I mean, it's up there, top of the list, no problem. Number three would be The Beginning. I'll be honest, those two, like if I could really just live with those two, and be content because all the other ones I have issues with, all of them, including The Beginning. I love The Beginning just because Sheriff Hoyt, you know, he's kind of the main focus in this one. It's super brutal. It has kind of the same vibe as the remake, but like you said, the characters are just kind of boring.
Yeah.
It does the same thing the remake does, but it's just a little bit sloppier. Not much depth to it. But Leatherface, obviously, he's still awesome in it. Number four.
Let's see.
Attaboy.
Oh my God.
Would be Texas Chainsaw
See,
Part 2.
Jordan, I can always count on to somewhat be in the realm of like sanity.
Dude, that movie's so bad.
No, it's not,
Yes,
Tony.
it is.
These are my thoughts on this movie. I love the first half, all the way through the radio station or, you know, wherever.
Right.
I hate the second half.
I get that.
When they get to
a
the
lot of people say
underground.
that when they get to the underground thing. That's where it kind of. I do agree with you in that first half is so much better than this. The second half it kind of trails off.
Yeah.
I still love it, but I get that.
I love it
Freaking
when they show up at the
sword fight. A chainsaw sword fight.
Yeah,
Really?
I kind of dug that.
What?
Yeah. I really didn't like the character though,
Why are y'all
the
my
cop.
friends?
And is he? Somebody tell me. Like he mentions Franklin. There's that one scene where he
He's
sees the wheelchair and he's like Franklin, yada yada.
I think
yada.
he's the uncle to what's her name and Franklin, correct? Maybe.
Marilyn Burns. He's the
Yeah.
uncle to her.
Yeah,
from the
because her and
original.
Franklin are brother and sister, aren't they?
Oh, okay, yeah, they are.
So I think he may be the uncle.
Okay.
Am I
Confirmation?
confirmation?
Yeah. Yes.
Chop Top. Don't like him. Not a fan. Not a fan of his character.
I love it. He's the best part of it.
I think I could like him more maybe if we got a separate movie talking about like really who he is.
He's like that one friend you had that's over there in the corner eating his own boogers.
I mean, he
picking
is-
at his scalps.
Or I would like him more if he just wasn't so psychotic. Like he's always yelling and jumping around and saying
was
crazy. Like if he was a
was
little
like-
bit more calm
Right.
to where I could like be scared of him rather than like, dude, shut up. You know, I think I might like him a little bit more. I love the first scene with him at the radio station.
Oh man, that's one of my favorite scenes from the whole franchise. Like that radio station scene.
Yeah.
I don't get what's his name, JD, in that one, JD. The
LG.
LG.
I love you, LD. Something like that.
But
Love you, LD.
he gets hit in the
LG.
head about 40 times with a hammer.
Yeah.
Still alive.
And then gets scalped. Half of his body gets scalped.
Gets his
Still
face
alive.
cut off.
Still alive.
Still alive.
That shit was brutal.
How the hell are you still living?
Yeah.
And okay, I forgot to mention this. My most annoying character in the whole franchise is the dude with the glasses at the beginning of the movie.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
He's awful.
That dude deserves every bit that he gets.
He's
Who drives down the road just blasting off shots?
That's another scene I really like. I really like that scene.
I like the bridge scene.
Just with Leatherface coming out of the truck.
Yeah, I like the bridge scene, but up until then,
Yeah.
like when they're just driving down the road and they're calling in the radio,
Yeah.
calling into the radio station, and just
Yeah, it's definitely all over the place. I'm not a big fan of Leatherface in it. I don't like the goofy shaking around, and he's more of a cartoon character in it.
oh god, he's so bad.
But I still have a little bit of fun with it. All right, so after that one, next up would be Leatherface, which we just recently watched this. It's my third time watching it. I love the style of it. I think this would fall kind of right in line with the remakes. The Beginning, I think this would actually be a good prequel to The Beginning. The only difference is the Leatherface choice. It's just kind of awkward. But, you know, I asked myself last night, like, would I like this movie more if they would have just made the fat kid Leatherface, the one you're thinking the whole time is supposed to be him? Which I think that, you know, if the movie would have ended like that, then the whole movie was just kind of pointless. You know,
Yeah,
it's just
'cause
like, yeah, he's Leatherface, and
Right.
That was
that's
easy.
it.
Yeah, take
But,
an easy route on it.
So I think it's kind of cool they tried to do something different. I think it's a really random movie. Like, why did they make this?
I know. Well, like you said though, it would be cool to watch this as a trilogy with the beginning and the remake. You watch this one.
It has the same like color tone and style.
You could do that, but like you said, why did they make that?
Especially with the psycho girl and the psycho guy, it's just some of that stuff is just pointless to be in the movie. There's no reason, especially when they break out of the insane asylum or whatever.
Yeah,
and he's standing there getting just right there in the hallway, just.
Yeah.
Then they run across a dead body in the trailer and decide to have sex on top of the dead body.
Just
no. What? Like, why?
Yeah.
You know, it's like 10 seconds of the movie. Like, why did you feel the need to put that in the final cut?
It was a very
odd choice.
Yeah.
It felt a little bit slower watching it. The last
we watched
time.
it again recently.
But like Paul Slasher Junkie said in this way, that is almost like the directors of that went the Rob Zombie.
It kind of has a Rob Zombie.
Especially like with those really ridiculous scenes.
Yeah.
Like that totally feels like if you wouldn't have told me, if we didn't know who like that Rob Zombie didn't direct it, you could almost think that it was one of his movies.
Yeah.
Unless if it would have had more like 70s music playing in it, then you would know that it,
Just increase the bad language some.
Right.
Yeah, that's
a lot
my.
of MFers,
The kills are great in that one too.
Yeah,
Though.
they're messed up for sure.
All right, the bottom three, I don't care about any of them. 3D would be next for me, and it's no good. I just there's eye candy in it. It's got a few fun kills.
Yeah.
I like the beginning, like when they have all those old shots, and I like that they added like the guys like shooting out the house. I like that stuff, but the timeline was just a joke. It's just a stupid movie. I saw it in the theater, and it was just terrible.
Well, another thing is like at the beginning, who were all those extra people in the house?
Yeah.
Like who are they? Who are all those people supposed to be? Like,
yeah, it's true.
There's just all these extra people that nobody explains or anything.
Well, isn't Bill Moseley Drayton
Yeah.
in that one?
Yeah.
Bill Moseley plays Drayton, and then you got Gunnar Hansen with his little short cameo in that one.
Yeah, but like who are those?
Yeah,
who are they though?
Yeah.
They're just in the house. Like they're just like, and it's like they immediately shit on the original right after paying all this like tribute to it.
Yeah.
They just dookie all over it by like messing the timeline up, and it's like that's almost like a blatant mess up that it's like, how did you do all this and go and get all this footage from the original and then make the timeline so messed up? It's like it was I don't know. That's why you immediately can't take it serious.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I mean the timeline ruined it for me. Like right off the bat in the theater. It's just a joke of a movie.
It's hard to take anything serious when they just such a blatant screw up.
It's not unwatchable to me though.
No, I mean, like you said, it's got cool kills.
Yeah.
The 3D part, honestly, obviously makes it cheesy because if you're not watching it in 3D because how that stuff goes. But
it's got a few cool kills to it.
Yeah.
These last two, I could care less if I ever watch them again. Next Generation is actually not last for me.
Oh man.
I don't know. McConaughey, as crazy as he is, he's still kind of fun to watch in this for me. Towards the end when he just starts losing it, it's like, okay, the movie needs to end.
Yeah.
But the first part, when he's in the truck running over the dude and when he's just kind of chasing everybody down, not too bad. The whole leg situation is strange.
Like when he's just yelling in the house.
Yeah.
I'm just like, Jesus.
He's just smacking that woman all around the place.
Smacking the dog shit out of her.
Yeah.
Sir smacks a lot.
I don't hate it as much as everybody else, but it's still, like a 2 out of 10 for me. It's
doo-doo.
awful.
Ooh.
And Leatherface, I think, is worse. I think you get a little bit less action in Leatherface, and I don't like anything about it. I've watched it 3 times.
Yeah.
And I can't even really tell you much about it. That's how much it just leaves my brain.
Yeah.
Because nothing really happens. Nothing sticks out. And I just think it's terrible, even though I like the cover art.
The worst thing about that, the Sawyers have nothing to do with those movies. Like the Sawyers aren't mentioned, but you have 2 other just random Leatherfaces just out there in Texas, just wanna be Leatherfaces.
I just don't get why they didn't show none of the kills. Because this movie, one thing about this series is that it's such a brutal series, and it's like, how many kills did they show on screen in that movie? It wasn't very many.
Mm-mm.
A lot of them they just cut away. I don't know, but
this franchise, there's 4 good movies and then just 4 awful movies. I don't really care how you place them.
Yeah.
It just, half of it's just not good.
Yeah.
Well, which is now that we're getting into this to the big series, closing out the year, that's kind of going to be the theme with a lot of it.
Yeah.
Is you got 3 or 4 or 5 solid ones, or really, and then you got 4 or 5 that are just kind of, you could take them or leave them, honestly.
Yeah.
But that's kind of just how it is with all horror movie franchises for the most part, in my eyes at least. But
the franchise as a whole kind of dropped down a little bit for me after doing this. The remake is my favorite movie of all time. The original is up there as well.
Yeah.
But man, you could get rid of the rest of them, and I would be fine.
Yeah.
I thought I liked this franchise more than I did.
Rewatching it, right?
Well, some of these I just watched for the first time, getting ready for this franchise review, and it's the lower run of the major franchises. It's of the big 4. I haven't watched all the Nightmare on Elm Streets, which I know some of those get really, really bad too.
I feel like that's, if you had the big 4, I would put that at the bottom.
What, Nightmare?
Yeah. It's only really got 2, maybe 3 good ones in the entire series, which we'll get to that in the future, obviously. But that was our countdown, our franchise rankings. Different as always, which that's cool. If we all have the same opinions, then it wouldn't be any fun.
Yeah, exactly.
So be sure to comment in the comment section. Let us know what you thought, what your rankings were. Make a video if you want. We appreciate all the support. Hit that bell for notifications. Subscribe.
Hey, and if you haven't already, sub to the homie Johnathan Ivey.
Absolutely.
Sub to the homie Chance Richardson. He's got a YouTube page as well.
Revolution One Media, baby.
One Media.
Killing it.
He's the mastermind behind all this. We just show up and act goofy, and he does the legwork. He makes us look
cool.
He makes us look good.
That's what he does.
That's hard to do.
Well, speak for yourself, Tom.
Hit that dinger.
Hit that dinger.
King Murphy style.
Woo!